Hello, Happy New Year and welcome back to a new video on my channel. This time it's being brought to you from Bicester Heritage for their Sunday Scramble event, and yeah, it's very busy. They seem to have changed the organisation of this event slightly to have a strict 8 AM opening now, whereas before you used to be able to turn up before 8, sort of nab your spot and park up, but we were sort of stuck in a queue for a bit outside. And I'm now worried that I'm parked in the wrong place, so I'm just sort of sitting here waiting to be moved on, but I might be okay. Cars are still arriving, and you can kind of hear some of the louder cars kind of coming off a roundabout not far from the event. And what astonishes me about this event every time I come is just the sheer variety. So there's a pre-war builders, joiners and undertakers van going down there, which is just passed by a brand new Aston Martin DB11. So it's there's a real sort of mixed bag going on. I'm here in the MG as per usual, because with a pre-1990 car you get to park in the sort of technical area, which is a bit nicer than the standard car park, and it means people can come and have a look at your car and stuff. But the problem with driving the MG to an event like this is that it doesn't really stand out in a crowd. There's so many MGs and MGBs that were made during the years of production that they are quite a highly surviving classic. So you'll see a few at an event like this. But that's fine though. I like to go around and sort of see other MGs and what people have done to them, and how nicely they've kept them and that kind of stuff, and also see the vast variety of other vehicles on show, and quite fairly rare ones as well. So a Sunbeam Tiger just went past me there, which there's not many of those left in the world, and also a Porsche 924 GTS, if you remember those. That was a pretty rare car as well. So while these cars are all sort of piling in and parking up, probably grab myself a bacon sandwich or something, cup of tea or something like that as well, and then maybe just have a bit of a wander around and see if there's anything that really catches my eye. I mean, the last time I came here I just kind of blitzed around with my camera on sort of a time-lapse thingy, just to sort of show everyone what the event was about. But if I find anything interesting, I'll see if I can explain a bit more about what it is and why I like it. And yeah, so let's see what turns up. I mean, about the event a little bit as well is if you're planning on coming here for the day, there is loads of stuff actually going on. So there's not just the pre-1990 car bit. There's loads of club stands as well. So you'll get a vast variety of any sort of enthusiast car sort of outside the sort of technical area, which is where I'm parked now. And there's also other stuff. So I think Hagerty Insurance often have some sort of valuation arena or something they call it, where you can take your car and get it valued by insurance experts. I mean, that's kind of a corporate thing, but I mean, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, then you can go over there and have a look at that. And there's often like a special display inside some of the hangar buildings as well. So yeah, that's probably enough of me talking for now. I'm going to go and get something to eat, and then we'll see what parks up. See you later.
So this is where I parked the MG. It's actually as far away from the entrance of the technical area as you can get, and I actually had to move from where I was parked originally. And this is the exit to the event, so it's quite handy for getting away once you want to leave. This point is actually a junction of 3 roads, the main one in the middle being the sort of the quickest way from where I'm parked back to the entrance. So we'll start to walk up here now. And you can see that there's sort of cars everywhere, as well as stands and stuff. But one of the main sort of places to have a look around on this main drag is this area to the right. So it's kind of set up like a courtyard, and in actual fact they sometimes have like the sort of home guard guys in their military uniforms doing a little parade and a march and things. But quite often you'll see some nice classic cars here. Today we've got some Porsches. Quite often there are Porsches dotted around this event. There seems to be a popular mark. And in these sheds there are some sort of pre-war cars. And then just as we get round to this side of the courtyard, you can see that there's this craft beer brewery and bar. Sadly, driving to the event can't really indulge in that, but it's probably quite good being brewed on site. So the first car sort of mentioned, I suppose, is this really lovely Porsche 959. Quite a lot of people sort of standing around it, admiring it. Guy with Porsche jacket, probably very enthusiastic about the marque. And obviously the 959 was Porsche's halo car for the period it was made, and very, very fast and great looking actually as well. So reminiscent of a 911, but kind of on steroids. So yeah, very lovely thing. Nice for someone to bring it to the show and show it off. And parked next to it, I'm not too sure what this is. I'm guessing it's a Porsche Speedster race car, I guess, sponsored by a radio station. Well, that's a joke, not a very good one, but I've no idea what 61 FM stands for, but yeah, a race number of some sort. So walking back over here, and the reason I started walking this way was so I could hear a bit of a rumble of an engine starting up. So I thought I'd go over and investigate. Some nice metal in these garages, some British stuff, and a newer Mustang Cobra. So you can probably see that there's a fair few cars on display on the other side. I didn't actually see what was in that building, but a lovely D-type there. No idea if it's a genuine one or not, but lovely to see. And you can kind of see what people are standing around making the noise over there. You have to have a guess what it is. It's not this MGA, that's for sure, making that deep rumble, but the MGA is a lovely car. I would love one of these, especially with that nice painted dash. That's great. But the thing that everyone's standing around making all that racket is a GT40. Again, no idea if this is a genuine one. Probably isn't at this event. People sort of listen to it rev up. The great thing about this car, I mean, obviously so iconic, winning the 24 Hours of Le Mans a few times. But not only is it a successful race car, it's a very sort of beautiful shape as well, which is great. So the road car obviously looking as fantastic as the race car pretty much, and yeah, a greatly sort of designed car, that one. So just carrying on up this main drag, you can see there's a few places to get coffee, and that's where I got my bacon sandwich from. Some other cars dotted around. Then we come to another junction. So here are some sort of Japanese classic cars. This first one's pretty interesting. It's a 240Z with a Nissan RB25 engine, so no idea what sort of power it makes, but I'm guessing substantially more than it did originally for that particular car. Kind of a resto mod type thing. Yeah, really brilliant. I love this kind of stuff. You know, someone's obviously taken a lot of time and effort over that car. And then also some sort of JDM legends. So this Skyline Gtx, which I think is 130 horsepower standard, and then next to it, not this Alpha, but the GTR version, which is 160 horsepower, being a double overhead cam engine in this one. Yeah, looking great. It's obviously been modified with new wheels and stuff, so not sure if it's still got 160 horsepower, but the GTR badge, iconic GTR badge, displayed proudly on the front there. Very good. We have a Lotus paint job and a Lotus M100. Now the next car to look at, another Japanese classic, is this Toyota AE86 and the coveted Treno liftback with the Panda paint scheme. This one's actually a regular at the event, and normally they have their bonnet open, and it's as clean inside the engine bay as it is on the outside, with Perspex timing chain covers and things like that. A very, very nicely presented car, and I would dearly love one of these, being a fan of Initial D, if anybody's seen that. But yeah, it's really nice to have one of these at Bicester. So as we walk down here, you'll notice that like there are 911s everywhere, and I'm worried about MGBs being the most common car at this event, but I think Porsche 911s are probably the most numerous car model here. Speaking of MGBs, a nice green one next to some sprites. And this nice Lotus Elan. I'm not sure if this is the +2 model or not. It's got the later pop-up headlights, but I really love these cars, and they used to be sort of affordable. No idea how much they cost now, but less than the original Elan, but still probably gone up in line with everything else. And making our way over to another Lotus, this one slightly more iconic, I suppose, being the Lotus Esprit Turbo. So the Turbo being the Series 3 version of the Esprit, has kind of lost a bit of the purity of the shape of the original Giorgetto Giugiaro design, so it's got sort of spoilers and side skirts and that kind of thing. But the important thing about the Turbo version is that it brought true supercar performance to the shape, whereas before the S1 and S2 were a bit tame. This gave the Lotus Esprit true supercar performance figures and kind of gave the looks, the performance to back it up. So yeah, very sort of important car for Lotus, I think, and you know, famous for appearing in James Bond films and that kind of stuff. I forget which one the Turbo was in, the one with the skis on the back, For Your Eyes Only or something like that. The next car that I kind of stopped to have a look at was this lovely Mustang GT 350. No idea again if this is a genuine GT 350, but lovely to see it, well presented, and actually for sale for £35,000. Sadly, not the kind of budget that I have to buy a car. But if I was going to buy an American classic, it probably would be something like this. I mean, I do love the fastback Mustangs of this period. They're kind of the one to have in my book. Being a sort of bullet fan, I guess that kind of movie car quality is something I probably look for in an American classic car. Either that or a Dodge Challenger, being a fan of Vanishing Point. But yeah, this GT 350 with the racing stripes, an iconic car, I think. It's just wandering back down here, Chevette on the edge, and just on the left, having a look at the MG, make sure it's still there, people peering in. Good that it's getting a little bit of attention. And rather than go up the road we just went up, it's the leftmost road that we're going up now. Some more Elans. And a Porsche stand. And what looks like a Viking in disguise. Hello. So this 911 here looks really great because it's been painted in the livery of the Porsche 917, the very first one to win Le Mans for Porsche was painted in the same colour scheme, number 23. So it's kind of evoking that for the 911. And in this Porsche themed garage we can see a nice 356 coupe, very nice colours. And more Porsche stuff over here, so like a truck, a newer Porsche, a few more 911s and things. But the other car I stopped to have a look at was this nice MGC GT that's had the Sebring treatment, so wider wheel arches and no doubt a hotted up engine. Normally it's a triple Weber setup that they run in these, but it's really hard to get these conversions looking spot on. I mean, this one was obviously taken a lot of time over it, and the wheel fitment is sort of perfect, really, a perfect replica of the works race car. And the other thing that people kind of skimp on is leaving the fuel filler where it normally is, but they've gone for the side filler, which is the correct place for the works racer. I mean, I've no idea if this is a MG Motorsport car, which is kind of like a famous place where people have that treatment done. A nice resto modded Porsche 911. I think it said 5.0 on the back, so I wonder if it's got a 5-litre engine. That would be pretty interesting. Lancia Delta. Lots more cars. It's very busy. Man in coated jacket. This Alfa looks lovely. So the other car I went to stop at was this this Lotus. I've no idea if it was originally an Exige. I mean, it's got sort of Exige bodywork, but it could have been an Elise with a sort of graft on, I suppose. But it's got a pretty uncompromised turbo setup on the back, which you can see there, the exhaust sticking out the side of the roof, and sort of full on sort of time attack bodywork, no headlights. It's a pretty serious car, this. I'd love to see that going around the track or something. I bet it makes a mad noise, and I expect the performance is there to back it up. I think that carbon fibre wing just looks ace on the back there. There we go, another D-type. Again, I don't know enough about D-types to know if this is a genuine one. I mean, there's enough people crowded around it taking photos to suggest that it might be. I mean, it could even have been a works race competitor for all I know. I haven't done the research on the number plate, but if anybody in the comments knows, then let me know if this is like a world famous one that I've just sort of walked past casually. So one of the things about Bicester Heritage is that tucked in a lot of these buildings is sort of a whole host of businesses and sort of classic car displays. I mean, I couldn't get close enough to see what was in this one with all these people standing there, but it's kind of a real sort of explorer's paradise, and you might come across something you didn't see. If you've been a few times, you might find something new. A couple of MGs there, a couple of Fiat Pandas, one done in Jurassic Park livery. Something's given the Lotus treatment there. Pretty serious Hillman. And now this RX-7, it interested me because it had all these TWR motifs, and I thought perhaps it was some sort of like special edition, and I think it was kind of almost like a trim option from TWR in period. It didn't include any sort of performance enhancements, but it was sort of body kit, wheels, steering wheel, and a load of stickers. It was good to see sort of a period correct sort of spec'd up RX-7 there, pretty nice. We have Mission Motorsport with some Morgans and a nice NSX, sort of a later one, I think, and Ferrari. Now, as the next car, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I mean, it's a continuation XK SS, and there's no doubt that these are wonderfully sort of built cars, and the craftsmanship is world class, sort of second to none type thing. Someone's obviously taken a lot of time to get all the details right, but it's essentially a brand new car, just built using old technologies and old sort of period correct tooling and everything like that. But it's not a classic car. It's a replica. It just built by Jaguar in effect, and it's very, very expensive. So I don't really know how I feel about that. And you've kind of got a matching D-type built in the same way here. Nice sort of oval grille, and the bonnet bulge. You can really see sort of the E-type heritage there, kind of the inspiration for the styling for the E-type, and even the XK. Actually, a lot of the sort of styling cues kind of carry over from the D-type design. I wouldn't say no. So, just going down this road now, which is kind of to the right of where you come into the technical section. There's kind of like a car park area with lots of cars parked there. Now this is an XJS, but not as you know it. This one's sort of been hotted up by a firm called Koenig Specials, which I'm guessing is a tuning place from back in the day. And it's not really to my taste, but it seems like a lot of sort of work's gone into this thing, with a lot of thought going into how the spoiler should come up off the wide arches. But I'm afraid those Testarossa style strakes on the side are not my cup of tea, and probably should stay firmly in the 80s. But the interior is lovely. I mean, that looks pretty awesome, and I would dearly love an XJS. I think they're great, especially with the V12. But maybe not one that's been done quite like this. I'm not opposed to a wide-bodied XJS either. I mean, I think the Lister version was pretty great, but that one's just a bit OTT for my tastes. So this is kind of like the edge of the technical area. You can see the regular cars parked up over the fence, and then lots more sort of Porsches and things. But I stopped here because these two cars, I think, sort of summed up the event for me a little bit. Is that you've got this Ferrari, albeit not like a totally expensive one, but a Ferrari nonetheless, parked next to a Fiesta XR2, which looks in great condition actually, and people were kind of going around it saying, oh, I used to have one of those, or I knew someone who had one of these. And I think kind of like mixing what probably classes a pretty ordinary classic next to a supercar really brings sort of the car community from sort of polar opposites of, you know, the classic car world together, and everyone sort of sharing their passion for their particular mark or model and sharing it with everyone. I think it's really great. Some more Porsches, someone who wants to see where they're going with those headlights. So outside the technical area you have a big hangar building, and there's normally a special display inside. This one has got mainly sort of supercars in here. I didn't really have much of a look around in here because, you know, modern supercars aren't really my thing, but I thought I'd kind of come in here and just have a quick blitz round with my camera so you can see what it's all about. Lots and lots on offer. Porsches again, McLarens, Ferraris, Aston Martins, some really great cars, but just none that I know anything about. A nice Lambo, several Astons, and then back outside. You can see I didn't really spend too long in here. And now outside we will move on to the sort of club displays. So starting off with the Aston Martin club. Those are nice cars, DB7s, DBSs, and some of the more modern ones, some TTs. And then walking over to the Lotus club, that silver Esprit passed me on the motorway. It wasn't going slowly. Lots more Lotuses, some 7s, see some Datsuns and some BMWs. So really there is tons to see. You can see how many cars are here. Some more MGBs, who'd buy one of those. Morgans, Stags, Porsches, more Porsches. So this is the 924 Owners Club, and the Carrera GTSs that I mentioned earlier. There's one there. Don't see too many of those around. Then we're back to the Aston Martin Owners Club now. And that's about it. That pretty much sums it up.
Right, so I've actually taken refuge after walking around for a while just because it's so cold. Managed to get myself a cup of tea. You can see it steaming up the screen there nicely. And I've also got Goldfinger on the screen down there, which is quite a good little entertainment break. If you're at a car show and you're a bit cold, then you can kind of chill out in here for a while. But yeah, I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to stay. It's extremely chilly, and I've kind of been around everything now. I mean, this is the third or fourth time I've been to Bicester Heritage, so it's nice to see a lot of the favourite cars kind of back here again. And actually this year it seemed, well, this time even, this car's got quite a lot of attention. A lot of people seem to have had a look in. I have been kind of playing not James Bond, but that Grand Prix film from the 60s, which has all the cameos from some of the F1 drivers in it, which is kind of a period correct film that might have been out at the same time this car was made, so I thought it was quite a nice thing to put in here. But anyway, yeah, after my cup of tea I might have a little wander around again and start the drive back. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you've enjoyed it and you'd like liked what you saw, then come down to Bicester Heritage for one of their Sunday scrambles and see for yourself all the cars on offer. I mean, there's so much here, it's almost impossible to see everything. So yeah, until the next time, have a good one, and see you later. Bye.